we can start off if anybody has questions. I can, start a running list, or I can check into email to see what questions have popped up for me recently.
I have a question.
Okay, and then I also see Sandy's hand after that. So go
Yeah,
ahead,
I
go
was
for it.
looking for the hand, but I couldn't find it right away.
You're fine.
Sorry.
Go for it.
Okay. So I have been adding pictures of the board to our board member page.
Mhm.
And I think I wrote you about the sideways problem, and that got fixed. So that's great. But what I'm running into now is when on the draft, I sized the pictures to all be the same and they look great in the draft. And then as soon as I publish it, they're kind of not lined up.
Okay.
And then when I go look at it on my phone, they're not only not lined up, but they're all different sizes, which I think might have to do with the text that's in some of the, other cells of my tables.
Okay, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Maybe it'll help if I pop over to your site too, to
Yes.
take a look at it directly. Let me go ahead and
Yeah.
masquerade as you, and then you can let me know which page.
Okay. So
And
I
what is
did,
your, there we go, 90 Park with the space.
right. Yeah, I just made that page go from our menu, but I don't know if well, you should be able to see it because you're me now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So it just check under manage content.
Well, if you want to see what the page looks like,
Yeah.
it's board members in the menu.
Okay.
So, all the first ones are okay, but these ones, oh, okay, that's odd.
But
They're all lined up. They look perfect. But on my screen, they don't.
they look a little funky. I wonder,
They
I'm
look a
gonna
little funky.
use the inspect tool. This is always helpful. It's not a perfect idea of what it'll look like on a phone, but I always use a right click and inspect.
Okay.
And then there's the toggle device bar, I guess, icon. So I can choose from this little drop down to see what it might look like on phone. Okay,
Yeah,
I get
that's what it looks
better
like.
idea now. So one of my first thoughts was possibly trying to use HTML, like from the point that you have them sized like you want them to be. Try swapping the text editor from WYSIWYG to full HTML and see if that holds the sizing as you are intending it to be. Because at least with tables, and we've seen this with text, like you mentioned, the text and tables will automatically kind of resize and change up its look just based on the CSS that MyLO dictates. So by setting it to full HTML, it will ignore for the most part that automatic formatting of the table. And so it should keep whatever true sizing you have set it to.
So are you saying that I should put it in HTML and then save it in HTML?
Yes, so you don't have to work with it in HTML, but once you've resized it and you have it looking like you want it to be, then switch it to full HTML and save it and see what that does when you look at it across devices.
Okay, because what it appears to me is that it's automatically resizing based on the longest word,
Oh, I see.
when it's on the phone. And on the PC, it doesn't matter because it's not that narrow, but on the phone, it's trying to squeeze it into that narrow space. And if you look at the names, it's like Pat and I have the shortest names, so we
you're
have
the
the
smallest
smallest picture.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
That very well could be part of it too. I don't know if the HTML, that might help there too, but if that doesn't, you might play around with non-breaking spaces. So instead of adding extra spaces like with the space bar, what you can try and do, and I won't save it, but I'll show you how you can add these in. Because if it is a matter of, the number of characters is really what's dictating the length and the size of each column, then let's
I
tack
was
on to the
thinking
end.
about putting some kind of character length, that was the
Mhm.
same. But I also noticed that we have the option of assigning attributes to the cells. And one of the things that I did also, and this is kind of a different thing, but I wanted the names centered, and I don't seem to be able to center them, even though I put centered on everything in the table and the cells.
And was it
So,
through here, through the styles that you tried?
um,
I'm not sure
well,
if
what
it'll
I
stick.
what I did was I selected the cell, and then in the very middle bar there,
In
that,
this one.
yeah.
I
So I
see.
put the alignment. So I don't know if that was for the external part of the cell or if that was for the contents of the cell, but it
Yeah.
kind of looks like it's not.
I would suggest trying center here under class.
Yeah.
That is the
Just,
same as under styles. So
okay.
they're essentially the same thing, but choosing them from different places.
Okay.
But yeah, I would suggest trying that out, see if that does hold. And then as far as adding non-breaking spaces, they will look like spaces, empty spaces to us, but in the HTML, they will essentially signal to the system not to break the line at that space. The non-breaking spaces will hold the length of whatever line they're on. So to easily add those in, so I have my cursor where I want it to drop in. Where is our symbol, insert special character icon is there. And it is going to be the first one.
Oh, okay.
So the
That's
first one is
easy.
empty, but it's that non-breaking space.
Gotcha.
So you could then, copy and paste, or to just make sure that you are always adding the correct space, just keep coming back to insert that special character
Right. Right.
to how
And
many ever
then,
you need.
okay. So I would do that. And so,
And I guess
yeah,
too, since you are trying to center it, it would be a little bit extra tricky because you would have to add the even, number of spaces
right.
on each side. I would definitely suggest trying out the HTML switch first, see if that
Okay.
takes care of all of it. And then if not, yeah, then it would take a bit more of this meticulous detailing to make sure that they're more even.
Okay. So that would be the workaround. It's not like we can tell the table, I want these cells to all be the same size regardless of what's in them so that they can shrink and grow to
There's
the
no way
same
to,
degree.
yeah, there's no way to
way
do
to
it
do
within
that.
WYSIWYG,
Okay.
but that's where the switch to HTML may possibly do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give that a try. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, I have Sandy and then I have Nancy.
Hi, how is everyone?
Hello.
It might be hard to hear me. I'm at the library, and so I can't talk really loud, and I forgot my
No worries. We can hear you just fine.
headphones and stuff. I was I added a photo, and then I wanted to add a caption.
Mhm.
I used the caption tool, and the caption spread across the entire width of
The image.
the text area, and it didn't fit to my photo. It was weird. I've used that before, and it automatically was sized to my photo, but it didn't do that. And I wasn't sure if I did something wrong.
Let's take a look.
I mean, I was
Is it
able to
Sandy?
finagle it, as they say.
That's always the goal in the end if you can't, figure it out straight
Yeah.
away. But yeah, let's take a look.
Let
Which
me
page
tell
is that
you,
on?
it would be under news. Yeah, and
Click through to news.
so let's go. I think it's go up. Yeah. Reflections on Labor Day. That, okay, you see the at
Oh,
the
I
top
see.
there.
This is
Not that one, no, the first photo, right there. See how
this being the
Yeah.
caption.
yeah, I added that as a caption, but
Okay.
it actually stretched across the entire screen, so I put in the return. I don't know why
see.
it did that.
Yeah, let's take a look. Typically, I think it would look, yeah, so I am not sure if this is in a caption right now, because what I would expect for the caption to look like is to encapsulate the picture with the caption. So this is the add a caption to an image option. And so I don't think that
That's what I did. It was
okay.
weird. Okay, maybe yeah.
I'm not sure, or maybe it fell off. I'm not sure why it wouldn't hold as far as the formatting goes, but I'm going to go ahead and add that there. You can make it float left or right, but by default, I think it does float left.
Right.
One over there, Mike, over here. No,
Really?
Okay,
What it
that's,
does?
I see what you're talking about.
And then it has this undefined thing, which I didn't even know what that was.
Let's see if maybe it is, so I just went back. The image is in div. I'm going to just set that back to paragraph, see if that does anything for us. And again, I'm going to try one more time with the
Okay.
caption.
Okay.
Insert. Okay. So I think what is happening actually is what's similar to our insert edit link tool error, where our selection is, you know, it's active. We click add caption and then you can tell our selection has fallen off. So I think that's why the undefined is coming in, but I will take it in because this is something I definitely mentioned to the tech team and let them know it may be related in some way, but
Okay.
caption,
Because I've used captioning before and it never did this. That's why I was thinking, well, maybe there's something funky going on.
yeah, no, this is definitely a first for the caption. So as far as for now, the remedy I would recommend is similar to the insert edit link tool. So I have my toolbar here. I've already reselected it now and I still have that little caption window open. So I reopen that and now I'm going to try pasting that in. And when we insert, now it's holding it. It does look like it's going all the way across, but I'm going to see about saving it as a draft just so that we can see. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's save this so we could see what that might look like. Okay,
Oh,
so
it works. Perfect.
in the WYSIWYG, it does, you know, not give you the greatest image of what it might look like, but yeah, that will need to have a little workaround for the time being.
So could you go over that workaround again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So let's see if I can reset this. Am I able to take the caption off? There we go. Okay. Whoops. So just going over it so I can take that caption off. And I'll actually cut this out so that it's not twice that you have the caption there. All right. So the image, the first thing we have to, well, actually, I don't know if I have to make sure it's not in div. Let's try the workaround with it like that. So I select the image so that this add caption icon will be active for me to click. And then once this window is up, I'm actually going to click back over to the window behind it, reselect, and then down in my toolbar, find that window once again, and then reopen.
All right. Okay.
And then paste. Yeah, and there's no need to change it from a div image. It could, you know, it could be in div or paragraph style. And that should be it. I'll go ahead and save it again as drafted, and if you want to save that, you could publish that afterwards. And there we go.
Okay, perfect. You can just you can publish that now. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks for the question. Yeah, I don't think I would have been aware of that otherwise.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, Nancy, and then I have Eileen.
Okay, I have managed, I wanted to put a bunch of anchor links into a page that's somewhat long, but very important to us.
Yeah.
So I had them working near the top of the page perfectly. Then one of my officers comes along, she wants to add one. Well, now I can't get the anchor links to work except for the very first one.
Okay. Yeah, let's check that one
So-
out.
This is on the page that's vote
Okay.
on the main menu there. There you go. And go down
Down
just
this
a
page.
tad, but not very far. Yeah, see right there where it says content of this page in order. I did have those as all links to anchors that I've placed throughout the page.
Mhm.
Because I want people, especially our front desk volunteers, but also the public, to be able to go right to, I don't know, hospitalized voters rather
Right,
than
jump
reading through
down.
all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the anchors there. I feel sure they're showing up. And I do the link with the link it tool rather than the other one. And only that first one will make a link now today. And it had been fixed before I added check your voter registration. So I can't figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, that's funny that they're not linked at all.
I know.
Let's go
Well,
ahead
they're
and
not
check out the
linked at all
drafting.
now.
Was
They're
it,
not linked at all.
did you
Yeah,
go
okay.
through and remove the links? Was that why, or?
I did because I didn't want people today or right in this
If they
hour
were
to look at
trying
them and
and
think
it's
they were
not.
links because they weren't working.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. What I can also do if we wanted to check out what was there previously, just so we could, take a look at what might have gone wrong. I can look at
Okay.
previous versions, and we won't
Yeah,
revert
go
it.
down a ways because I was working at it a bunch today.
And what would
Okay.
be a good previous version? Maybe the August
Well, it would
29th,
be
or
today. I'd say it would be today. Probably
today
the
that you did.
earliest one you find today for September 5th.
Okay, let's check that one out then. Gotcha. Okay,
There you go.
yes, here we
Yeah.
see. All right, so those
First
are
one
still
worked. This one. See,
It-
at least for me, the rest of them didn't work today.
It looks like there's an A before the pound sign, possibly.
Uh-huh.
Is that possible?
Yes, I
That
shouldn't
sh-
have that.
Yeah, the A is causing the issue.
Okay.
So it
All
might
right,
be
so
it
no
might be
A's.
easier to revert to this previous version, and then all you would have to do is remove the A from all the non-working links. Because then otherwise,
Okay.
if you start off with what you currently have, you would have to recreate
Uh-huh.
all those links from scratch.
I hear you. Okay. Thank you. I'll try to revert. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Enough.
And then
Where did you
Eileen.
see the A, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Where did you see the A?
Yeah, let me go ahead and copy the link address.
Okay, thank you.
Or let's see.
I missed
maybe
that.
a notepad might be easier. So that's
Ah.
the A I'm seeing there. So this beginning portion always, that's actually not included in the URL that she created. That's just always determined by what page you're currently on. But this part
Right.
is what's added in. So all you need to do is remove that A, and it should make it a working link for the current page.
Okay, I hear you. Mhm.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thanks for the different Q&A. What, we decided is we wanted to keep the old page, and we ended up doing a web form, but it was specific to a student membership, so it could be interactive. And that worked. So we're not interested in deleting the join renew. President wanted to keep that. But one thing that did come up when I was talking her through the process, um, when you hit the submit button, it's sent to the webmaster.
Mhm.
And our president was interested in maintaining the same process, that it would either be sent to our LWV Florida Gmail account or to our membership person. So I didn't know if you had that flexibility to change the addressee to whom the submit button goes to.
Yeah, that is a great question. We'll play around with this one on the demo site if that's okay.
Good. No, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So you have the option between, if you want to have, you could have complete flexibility of each of those people will receive their own custom message, or you could lump them all together and have one style of message and they all three, or how many ever, will receive that. So let's see if I can find a good web form here. Okay, here we go. So under web form, we go to emails. So let's play around with this one. If you are going to go the route of having more than one recipient per email, then all that you have to do is separate them
Oh,
by
I see.
comma
Okay.
and just add them.
Oh, terrific.
And then you can customize,
Oh,
the header
excellent.
details and
Okay.
the
Well,
template
that's
as
easy.
well.
Okay.
One thing I would, in case your recipients are like confused of the last line of the email, you might change the wording down here because this is the link to view the submission online. And if all of your recipients don't have that access, which they need webmaster access, you could either remove it or, change the wording how you see fit, and then just save those email settings.
Okay. How would I check to know if they had access? I guess I have administrative access. That's why I'm getting it.
Yeah, you would just check your manage members list.
Okay.
And if they're listed there, oops, sorry, let me open that up. They'll be listed there as an administrative member
Okay.
or administrator member.
All right. But I guess if it went to the Gmail account, that they have access to that. And that's why that was a place. In other words, it's the submit button is going to go to our Gmail account. Anyone who has access to the Gmail account would.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
be able to
yeah.
see.
If it is,
Yeah.
if it's going to kind of like a shared email box.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I got trained on the conditionals and then I couldn't use them. No, just because our president wanted to keep the same membership form. So I was
Yeah.
explaining her the advantages, but I got trained in something, but someday I'll use it. So,
They wanted to keep it simple. That's okay, right?
or I would say complex for anyway, but the video worked really well. I was very proud of myself and then I couldn't use it. So, but the student one worked well because even though that wasn't conditional, it was a web form and we used it at a voter registration event this week. So we
Great.
were able to depict ourselves as, dynamic and being able to use an interactive form targeted to a specific audience. So it was
Right.
good.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
is.
Thank
It
you.
is a good feeling to see the form change, and depending on their questions, it feels very modern.
Thank you.
Maddie, go for it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to comment also on the forms that it's when not everyone gets the emails, sometimes it's nice when you just print out the contents of the record of the forms to get the information if someone needs it. I've done that a few times for people that said, well, who all, uh, applied for membership, and I can just go in and print it off.
Yeah,
I just
no,
wanted to make that comment.
thank you for bringing that one up. Yeah, the results tab, the download is something that you can, uh, print off or share so that you have all of the responses there. You can even limit the range so that if it is something that you're doing kind of regularly, then you could just have, just the number, whatever number of newest submissions you have. And that just all downloads into kind of an Excel sheet, I believe. The other thing too about the results tab is you can view it in a table. Sometimes, depending on how long your form is, you may have to zoom out to view it all in one screen. But this is another way if you're trying to just take a look at all of them together, as opposed to downloading an entire file. Any
Yeah,
other
so you do
questions?
that with table, right?
With table,
Well,
yeah, from
yeah.
results, you go to table. All right, I'm gonna hop into my inbox, see if I can pull out any other questions if anybody is thinking any other ones over. Um,
Reese.
yes. Oh yeah.
So you'll probably see it when you're looking, but I think I saw something about, and maybe you've already sort of mentioned it, about the link thing, how we
Mhm.
thought it was fixed, but then we started using it, a few of us, and it didn't work. So we had to go back to the workaround, which has been working fine for me. But since we thought it was fixed, I thought I would just mention that, well, it didn't work for me.
Yeah, no, yeah. In the first time that we experienced this, the tech team was not able to pinpoint an exact cause. So, and it was mostly due to them not being able to see the error on their end. So that was why we were believing it was related to an update of like your browser, making sure your browser is up to date. That was also the thought because we slowly were seeing either fewer reports or that it was being resolved for folks. So obviously now that it is still an issue, I don't think that was the case. So yeah, we'll have to figure out a way for them to be able to investigate it, even if they're still not seeing it on their end, because it is obviously an issue. But I am glad that the workarounds are in place. There was another workaround that I didn't mention this time around, but the last time it came up, the other workaround is just like we saw with the caption tool. If you are using the insert edit link tool, and I can show that again. If your selection does drop off, then all you have to do is reselect it again and then reopen that tool. So I make my selection, I click on insert edit link, my selection did fall off. So I come back over here and highlight that again, bring my toolbar over here so you can see where I choose the window. And let's open that back up. And then now I can go ahead and link to whatever I want to.
But that's not the workaround we were using.
That is one other workaround.
Because the other one, the link is right there. And
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The other way is through the
Yeah.
link to content tool.
Yeah.
And it is going to be essentially the exact same options as far as putting whatever link you want. You can choose a target if needed, and you can assign a title if needed.
Oh, yeah. I just click insert.
Yeah, for the most part, that's usually how it's used. But yeah, the insert edit link tool is still functional. It's just dropping the selection, which is quite annoying. Any other questions? I'm also still peeking around to see if I can find anything. I think for the most part, our questions got answered here.
Do most people send it, to everybody when they have a question for you, unless it's something obviously you've been working with them specifically, but are we getting a feel for most of the questions? If we're
Yes and no. I will say it is a good mix of folks that do reach out directly, but if it's ever anything worth as far as like they're reporting an issue, I will relay that back to the group.
Yeah.
Especially if there's more reports than just that individual. But for the most part, they're pretty just straightforward questions about their own
Okay.
either issue that they're going through. A lot of times it will be like a membership question, like I added this user and I can't find them, or how do I do these steps? So yeah, those are the ones
Speaking
I'm
of
finding.
members only stuff, so I know I've asked you this before, but how do I know if people are using it? Does it show up on the Google report somehow?
That is a good question. If you are adding,
Jennifer does that.
yeah, if you have content that is private, or if you have your members only page active and you're using it.
Well, no, I meant, how do I know if the members are using it? Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's one of the things on Google Analytics. You can look
Yeah,
and see.
you
That's
should
what-
be
okay.
able to
You
find
have to
it.
go to members only first, as far as I could tell.
As far as seeing that kind of traffic on Google Analytics, you would want to look for this. You could look for the specific pages.
Okay.
And depending on how much
Sure.
private content you have, it might be different
Okay.
pages that you're looking for. But yeah, it should show those page views,
Yeah.
even
Yeah,
though
you're
it's
right.
technically private
Yeah.
content.
Yeah, of course. Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Jennifer heard that, so.
That's for Jennifer.
Fine. She's so subtle. Yeah. I started out with Google Analytics and I sent her the report and she goes, I can't read this.
Well, it's
So now
really
I have a-
small. So now she's doing a little brief description and I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. See, I'm trainable. But now I've got one more thing to look for.
We might have to do another Google Analytics session. I have to brush myself up on that again, so we can dive in once more.
Is that new one being used by everyone now? I mean, remember
Yeah.
at one point there was a transfer? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the old one, I can't remember now exactly when, maybe it was the beginning of this year that Google finally officially said, okay, every, account that is using, or property that is using the old version has either been transferred already, and that was like the cutoff time, and like closing time that they had set for that old Google Analytics. Yeah, I kind of miss it, but we have way more functionality, which can sometimes be a little daunting, but yeah, a lot more data available to us, I believe. Any other questions? I'm also still poking around here.
Our regular from Holland isn't here. The man.
Oh yes, Mike
Right.
Schnabel. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his last name, but yeah, he is a lively one. He's not here today.
I think it's good we don't have as many questions.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're all doing well.
I mean, yeah, for the most part, I guess that means things are
Okay.
going somewhat all right, right? I just,
Yeah,
I'm,
But I learn something new every time.
yeah, that's great. Well,
Yeah,
let's see
I-
if
same here.
I'm gonna see if maybe I can show some things that just came to mind as maybe they'll just be kind of, random tasks that will help you in the future. So what came to me was if you are looking to clone anything within your own site, you can do that. And the only, I guess, prerequisite in some cases is if the content, if you aren't the author of that content, then you won't see the link to clone that item. So this one is not a good example because I'm already the original author of this page. I think it's going to be the case for all of these. Okay, that's fine. They're all technically my pages there. So I'll just show you what it looks like. So we'll pretend like if I visited one of those pages, it did not have that link to clone the page. Then this is what I would go and do. I'd go to manage content and check whichever ones you need to do this for. And under operation, we change author. So upon hitting execute, it'll ask you the username, and I think you can add in username or email address. So pick the right person there. And once you hit next, you'll see that they are updated. And once we go over to them, oh, I sent them not to myself. I sent them to a different user. But if I actually selected my correct username, then I would see clone this page. But I did the opposite.
You took it away from yourself. huh?
Exactly. I did take that away from myself. But yeah, you do that in reverse essentially. And that's your quick and easy way to be able to clone something. Unless you wanted to be very, particular and proper about who it was created by and keep them as author, then I guess you would avoid that step. But I think it's a handy thing. Maddie.
Yeah, so I do have a question. A long time ago, we talked about the events and that we can't create recurring events. Is anything happening with that?
That is unfortunately on hold for now. It did get a bit of work with our previous tech team, but since the transition and with kind of things that have come up recently, it has, for more reasons, gone a bit further on the back burner. It is still a ticket though that we have available. So once we start to have capacity for bigger projects like that, then we can pick it back up. And it shouldn't, I have not reviewed this with our current tech team to see, if it might have to be a start over project, but I would hope that whatever was initiated by the previous team at least is, in the beginning stages and somewhere in the system. But unfortunately, it is just not a priority item right now.
Yeah, it's one of the things that's frustrating about the events.
No, I
Because
totally
almost
get
every
it.
other calendar, lets you do recurring events.
And I understand that with many leagues, a lot of especially board meetings, there's regularly held things. So I will keep that in mind for, like, again, when we can have a bit more capacity to take on a big project like that.
Good. I just want to make sure it was still on the list. We have two, well, they used to be called meet the members. Now we're calling them happy hours, the two per month. And so every time we have one of those, I have to go in and change the dates to the next month.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So which is not that big a deal, but sometimes I don't remember.
Well, maybe I can at least touch base and see if they can give me a quick idea. If it is smaller, a smaller project than I am expecting, then maybe it can go up the list a bit sooner. But yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
that would be nice. It's, I realize, making sure that certain things happen correctly is more important, but it would be nice.
Yeah, no, definitely get it. And we are approaching that where we aren't seeing knock on everything, knock on wood. We
Yeah,
aren't
right.
seeing as many repairs having to be made. We're hopefully getting into that season where we can just be focusing on improvements, feature requests, whatever that may be.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Mary Jo.
So I was just gonna say that I recently used the clone thing. It's a recurring event. It's like, meet your legislator. So mostly just I'm changing the time. But I did notice if people are using it, be careful because the title
Oh, yes.
includes the word, she's knows what I'm
Clone.
gonna say. Clone, not this. And I just happened to notice, I always check what I do, but for some reason I didn't notice that. But anyway, just warning you.
Good point.
Yes, that
I've
is a
done that.
good, a good disclaimer. It is an easy one to just go right by because everything else is just identical except for the title. That clone of is the difference there.
But it is nice.
Good. Any other questions? Most of my inbox questions, like I said, there are a lot of, I've added a user or we're having issues here. Maybe I can talk about a little bit more about the members only page, just a reminder of how it works and how folks would access it when we talk about the user, the MyLO user. Let me see if I can pull up some documentation as well. All right, so there is some documentation we have about users and members and just kind of the difference between what all that means. It is obviously a little confusing when we use member in league all the time because there's actual league membership and dues. But then we also use the word member in MyLO because we're talking about that they're belonging to your group in MyLO. But those are not, we know that those are not the same thing. They don't equate to the same thing. So when someone first comes to your MyLO site, they're starting at the biggest group, the general public. They don't have any login, they're just a visitor. Once they go up the ladder, that means that they have created a MyLO user account. Either they created it, we as MyLO, the MyLO team created it, or you as a webmaster created it. That does not grant them members only access though. So as a MyLO user with no local league membership or league membership affiliation within MyLO, when they come over to your site, they would see members or members only, whatever you have in the menu for that private content. They would see the link in the menu and they would see this at the top. So we all know you can, you can customize your league's header. So this text could be something different. But what happens is even if you have content below, like you can see under members only content, I have a few pages. But if I am popping back over here, if I am just a MyLO user and I don't yet have members only access, I would see this section and this section as empty. It would just automatically show me there's nothing here. Although there is, I just don't have access to see it. But what I would have access to see is what's here at the top. So that's why we advise not to have anything personal or sensitive up in this top area. It should be merely an intro, It could be, you know, a description of what this is and let them know what's required for them to have access, whatever, as long as it is not, you know, sensitive information you are trying to keep private. And then we go a step higher above that, then they are added to a group within MyLO. That means they have access to that group's members only section. From the second step to the third step, it does require either knowing, as a webmaster, you would have to know that user's username or email address. So having one of those is the ticket to getting them into your group. The email address is easiest to use when the MyLO user account was maybe created by us as the MyLO team or was created by the user themselves. And maybe you don't know what username they used, but you should typically know the email address they used. And then from there, once they're a member of a MyLO group, then you can make them webmaster. And then at the top, which is separate, is just the MyLO team, the admins. There's further descriptions about each level down below, but that is like the general idea of how they gain access to the MyLO site. Any questions about that?
Well, I was just going to comment that
Yeah.
before we were actually, you know, this is a few years ago when we were just starting, we had another member, Erica, and she was going to help us, I guess, with the website. I can't remember now, but somehow she had gone in and made herself one of those levels, a MyLO member, but she wasn't in she wasn't in our members only group. You know, because when I went to create her or something, she was already there.
Right. They do have the ability to create their own user account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what she was trying to do, but yeah, anyway, that was just kind of
It
funny.
happens often though. I don't, there's a draw for many people that see a login bar and say, I will log in. Although,
Well, and she, you know, like I said, she was going to be working with us. So
okay,
yeah,
so she was
naturally,
taking the initiative
she
there.
did, yeah. So, but it even seems like her name was twice or something. But anyway, I just remember that.
And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because it isn't a very obvious process that if you sign up to become a MyLO user, you would assume that you would get immediate access to your group's
Right.
content, but that is
Uh-huh.
just not the case.
And then you
You
try
have to be
again,
allowed.
right?
Right. And so then you have multiple and
Yeah.
it makes it harder than on the webmaster if the webmaster is trying to then create a separate new account, then the emails that they know of are all taken, the usernames they know of are all taken. So
Maybe that was how I just, yeah. So, I mean, when a person goes in to be a MyLO user, I mean, is there any kind of, you know, description of what that means? Or do you know what I'm saying? To maybe
yeah,
sway
unfortunately
them?
not.
Okay.
Yeah, there isn't a disclaimer that they'll see. There isn't a message that will tell them, hey,
Don't do
you
this.
don't yet. Yeah, you don't really need it. I will respond to people kind of in that way if they do reach out to me and they say, you know, I signed up for this account, but I'm just not able to reach my sites, you know, members only stuff or whatever is the case. I will send a certain message depending on if that league doesn't have members only, because I'll just let them know like there's you probably won't even require a login. Just contact your league. And then on the other hand, if there is a members only, I mean, I still do refer them to their league, but I tell them that you'll need a bit more intervention from, you know, your league webmaster to gain access. So yeah, there isn't an automatic way to feed them that information if they do sign up for a MyLO user account. But the good thing is that with the fact that we can search for them by email address, we should be able to cast a wider net to catch whoever might already be existing in the MyLO world. Yeah. And I think the other thing too of why it's structured this way is, I mean, aside from the way our MyLO system is structured, it is technically one site and we are several sites within it. That's the reason why there's like an overarching user account that they would have. And then it also allows for webmasters or just members to belong to more than one group. And we do see that.
Mm. Mm.
Other question?
How can they belong to more than one group if there's only one email address that's accepted?
It is the
Mm.
account that would be added to another group. So the email address is associated with the MyLO user account, but
Okay.
the membership of each group, that is just that MyLO user account is assigned to that group, and then it can be assigned to another group.
Or it can be assigned to more than one group,
Yeah,
but,
like for
but the webmaster has to do that.
correct, yeah. Either the
Okay.
webmaster or the admin, the MyLO team.
Okay. So I could join, if Maddie accepted me, I could join Maddie's group
Yeah.
and see all their secret stuff. Okay.
That's right. We have so much secret stuff on there.
I know. I'm sure it would be surprising. But I mean, that's interesting. That's
But
good.
yeah. Don't let too many other webmasters know. They might take you up on that and say, you know, you could be a new webmaster for us too.
And so are you going to cover the webmasters and the admin also?
Oh yeah, I can talk a bit more about those.
Just a little bit?
Yeah. So the webmasters, we all know that's you guys. The other name for that is administrator member, but those are the folks that have the editing and user management access to your group. Yeah, they can essentially do everything that's available within your site that is, you know, as far as editing or managing content or users within your MyLO site. And then the MyLO team are the administrators. We really don't have that many administrators at that level. It would be our tech team when they do need to gain access to MyLO, but myself. We do have our LWVC staff. I believe that has that same level, but as far as anybody who is actively serving in that role, it would be myself. Who, you know, if things like if there were redirects that you needed to request, we would consider those and as an administrator be able to help you out with that. But typically anything that you would do as a webmaster, you should be able to, you know, take care of redirects for the most part.
So that's why you're able to masquerade as us, because you're an administrator.
Correct.
But we can't masquerade as each other.
No. Yeah, unfortunately not.
That's probably fortunate.
Or fortunately.
Yeah, exactly.
You actually just reminded me of something, and I do need to make an announcement of this new functionality, but let me go ahead and I'm going to make a note so I can remind myself to post this in the Google group, but I can show you. So it was a couple of sessions ago that we were talking about what kind of procedure we have in place for people who may quit the league or leave the league, whatever, for whatever reason, are no longer webmasters. And we were talking about how can we then manage their files in the media library? How can we essentially gain ownership of those files so that I can, you know, then further manage them by deleting them, edit them, however. So we did add a tab to one's user profile. And it is only webmasters that can see this. You reminded me because I, as being able to masquerade, can do this on behalf of webmasters, but this is available to webmasters. When you hit the transfer content tab, it is essentially asking you, who would you like to transfer your files to? So whichever user account it is that you are looking at, that is the originating owner, and whichever new owner you place in there will take over your content. Let's see if maybe I can try this without, not such a.
Oh, you could use our site because we have some content that what was her name? She worked for Henry Ford College with you, Mary Jo, before they retired. The blonde.
Did they add website access?
Yeah, she help you set it up.
Oh, I know, Peggy Kearney.
Peggy Kearney, yeah, okay.
And
So
that's, she has files that you would like transferred to somebody?
Well, she's no longer involved, so might as well. But yeah.
I mean, I like.
Yeah, there she is.
seeing-
Peggy Kearney? Okay, let's double check, make sure that this is the right person. I'm not
I
sure.
don't know how many stuff she'd have, but
Yeah, she
and
doesn't, there's
I don't
no
think it
lead
matters,
name
but yeah,
under her.
but
I'm not sure if this is her because there's no league name under her.
oh,
But that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can use a demo user.
Oh,
See if
okay.
I have any files associated with this person. Let's see, this might not be the right user. Okay, I have 2 files with this user account. Then we can go ahead and use this. So when we talk about transfer content, it is a little confusing because it says content, but we're talking about the files. So it's, I might ask them to change the word transfer media. But again, we travel over to that user account and transfer content. Let's transfer that to my other demo user. So I choose them in the list, and upon transfer content, it may take longer. That was super quick, depending on if the original user has a lot of content. So now sorry, I'm going to go to the MyLO homepage. I just want to get to manage files. And there we go. So I no longer have files, and let's instead switch back to Masquerade as the LWVC demo user. And there we go. So it will list the upload date as that date of transfer and date of time of transfer. And it seems to have held everything else as far as, the other options, other details within each media item.
thank you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And you're
so
gonna
how
put
do
that-
you start from the beginning? How did you just start from the very beginning?
Yeah, so I'm going to stay masquerading as myself. Let's go from the very, very beginning.
Yes.
And I will not only announce this in the Google group, but I will
Oh, that's true.
create a separate like full documentation on it. So okay, if you're starting out from the very beginning, you need to find that member first. So I
Okay.
would suggest starting through manage members. Let's go to demo user 5 this time. So I click on their username, and that takes me to their user profile. Ah, okay. No, I think we did actually not allow webmasters to do this. This might be something only I can do.
I'll wait for the directions. Okay.
You can do Peggy.
No, now I'm getting a little confused because I'm not seeing transfer content on this user. Let me try that one more time. Going back to the member list. They're gonna take me back there. There we go. Let's try one of these others. Nope. Oh, you know what? It might be because they are not administrator members that I'm clicking on. So let's try demo 3. No. Let me double check. Is it because I'm not logged in as myself? Nope. I thought I understood the tool. I guess I need to do a bit of studying myself.
But in preparation, if our group wanted to do that, so is there a way in the media library that I can say, you know, show me all the files that Peggy Kearney did?
There isn't.
Okay,
Yeah, you would either have to be logged in as her or
just literally looking at the like the earlier file is what I would do with the earlier files, and it'll tell
I
me who
see.
it's created by, right?
if you're looking at, let me see, let me go back over to manage files. Are you talking about this here when you click on manage files and then
I
click
guess
on
so,
view
yeah,
all
yeah.
files?
Yeah,
I think it does say the user.
and then manage my files. Okay.
It does. So under
Yeah.
stats, it will say their name,
Yeah.
but the view
Yeah.
all files is going to show you everybody. You can
Right.
narrow down the list by
Oh.
putting in her username. So let's see. So that
Oh.
would be one way,
Well, that's interesting. She did all those. Oh.
but there isn't a way for you to edit these or, you know, manipulate them. You can
Well, and
edit from
we're
here.
using them because it says the 4 places. So
Mhm.
yes. So if I were going to get rid of it, I want to make sure. Well, I wonder why we have so many. Well, I don't know. I understand all
It could be used on previous revisions too, where it's not currently being technically right now being used on the current
Yeah,
revision.
that's what I just don't understand when it says, you know, one use or whatever, and it's yeah, okay.
Yeah, as far as the use, it could very well be that it's currently being used now, but it
Oh,
also
actually, yeah, that page is, forget that, right? We
this
don't
might
have
be
that.
one that you might need to
Yeah, we don't have any
unpublish.
pins left.
But yeah,
Did
this
you
is
see how she did that?
I wonder,
Mary?
I wonder where that shows up.
so if you
Yeah.
are trying to just at least see what someone else has
Yeah.
uploaded, this would be the best way. View all, go to manage files, then view all
Uh-huh.
files, and
Right.
then type in whichever username.
Yeah, I figured, yeah,
And
thanks.
then when you click on the edit, you can see how many pages, how many places, or do you click on the 4 places?
On the 4 places or 1 place, that's where you would get to see where it might currently be used.
Okay, so the vote thing is on,
Technically, these 3 pages, but it's worth looking through because like this, I mean, this is obviously a draft, but we don't technically see that image on this revision. So it is likely that it was used on a previous revision. It's not easy to see right now how far back, but we can at least know that it was used at least once
It was
in the
it was
creation.
part of the slideshow. I think I took it off, but I don't think I deleted it. I mean, obviously I didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can go through and check its use if you are trying to delete any of these.
And it was used through the media manager, right? As
Correct.
opposed to linking
Yeah.
directly.
Yes, that is true. That is always worth noting because if somebody does link to it through the image address, then that would not be listed in its use.
Then you find out when it doesn't show up.
Right. It would end up being a broken image if it were technically being used somewhere else by its URL, and it gets deleted, then it would be deleted for everybody.
It's interesting. I noticed that she apparently, when she was creating or adding it to the media library, she must have said, let everybody see it. Right? It says
Oh, yes,
author.
it does.
So, I mean, would that be a note to maybe not delete it because somebody else could be using it? I mean, I don't know.
Um, that is, I mean, yeah, you can consider it based off of that. It looks like we can't change it from here.
But like that picture, obviously it's just us.
Again, the usage can give you a bit of insight on that. But yeah, it sometimes won't be a full picture if again someone is pulling the URL.
Yeah.
Right, but if they pull this picture and put it on their site, wouldn't that be one of the, that would be like the first one where it says 4 places, that'd be like 5 places then?
Oh,
If
Yes,
it's put on-
that's
okay.
yeah, if they are going through, and I'll just go through the process. If we are going to add an image and we're using the media browser to do so, then yes, it will show up as a use. So I'm just picking a picture at random. But if I saved this, then this would be adding one additional use to whatever this image is. But if
No
I
matter
were
what
to,
league you're in.
right, no
No
matter what league you're in, as long as you're on MyLO, your usage of that image would get added here. But let's say that somebody instead right clicks on the image and copies image address. My use of it this way will not be captured. So it does, if you are using it this way, it does require a bit of HTML. Oops, nice quotation. And so that's another way of using images. And if I did it this way, we can actually just save it to see what it does. This usage of it will technically not be listed. So 4 places is still 4 places.
So if you do it by using the image link, if it disappears, you can't get it back.
Right. So yeah, it would equal a broken image for folks who might have dropped it in through the media browser or by using the URL.
Okay. So that would not be nice. So don't use the media. Yeah, don't use the link because there's a possibility if someone uses the media browser, then someone will see it and figure out and let them know, right? If you're cleaning up your files.
I'm sorry, say that again.
If someone was using the media browser
Mhm.
and found a picture that I loaded, and then we went through and decided we weren't going to use that picture anymore, we'd have the fact that they'd used the media browser and be able to follow it to where it is, and then let them know we're going to be down, deleting the content.
Yeah, that could be one way of doing it. If you are, determined to delete that image and you are going through that list of usage, that could be a courtesy thing.
Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, we're
Yeah.
all on the same side.
Yeah. And I
All
mean,
had broken images for whatever reason.
right. So yes, you definitely don't, if you are being considerate, you don't want to leave somebody in that predicament. But at the end of the day, being the owners of the images, I think that is a bit of
Right.
the risk, I guess, to take when it is not your own image. But yeah, I see both sides because it is the purpose of the media library to share media with all other leagues on MyLO. So
Yeah.
a fine
Okay.
line to walk.
But I mean, I just think I think it's important to think of the ramifications if somebody else is using it. You know,
Yeah, definitely.
because
And-
otherwise you could just have it where you could put it just in your space. You know, because there's my files and then there's all league files.
Right, yeah, that you would be a little more, I guess, guaranteed that it would be within only your league's use, but again, that does not prevent somebody right clicking and copying the image address and
Right,
using
but you
it.
can't do anything about that.
Right, yeah, there's no way of knowing if somebody has taken it that way.
Yeah, and that's just the way it goes.
Well,
don't
when we upload an image, we can say whether or not we want it to be visible in the
Mhm.
media library, right?
Right,
Because I've started, you know, the ones that I don't want anybody else to see, or I don't think they'd have any interest in. I just put them in. These are only for me to see.
Yeah,
Right.
only
that's-
for my use.
That's really my default. So just to be clear,
Yeah.
there's no way if you were looking at something that said it was being used 4 places, none of those 4 places is going to show. Oh, okay. If there was somebody using it, would it show up as a 5th use, or we would never know?
depending on how they acquired it. If they went through the media browser
Yeah.
and selected it, then yes, it
Yeah.
will show up. But
And
if
what will it just? I'll be able to. We can tell obviously that.
like where it is,
Like-
it would show up as a place. But the only thing is that you would have to go and technically look at it to see if it is on this revision or if it was on a previous revision. Like maybe they've already published and made changes, or they've created new drafts. So that's all different revisions every time they save.
Well, I don't care about the other league. What they do. I mean, I'm misunderstanding, I guess.
No, I think you got it. It's just you're I do think you have it. It
All
could
right.
be our league or it could be someone else's league. If it's someone else's league and we clicked on it, you'd know right away it's somebody else's league.
Mhm.
I would. I just
Yeah.
because it'll be on their website and I'll
Yeah.
be able to-
Correct.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
it
you.
will
That
take
makes
you to
sense.
theirs.
Okay,
Mhm,
that makes
mhm.
sense. Thanks.
Yeah, I thought you, I think you had it,
Okay,
but yeah.
no more belaboring.
But
I
files are
love
so
you.
fun to talk about.
So many different permutations.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think I have a bit of homework for myself. Make sure I actually understand our new functionality of transferring the files, and then I will get back to you all with that information.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I have a couple of other notes of the issue with the captions. I'll ask about recurring events, and then
And you wanted to
sometime.
do something about the name, one of the names in the transferring files. It was,
Oh, yes, from
Really?
transfer content, transfer media is what I thought as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
yes, you're welcome.
All right.
I do pay attention. I can really,
You have a
Gold-
good memory
Gold
too.
star, Jennifer, gold star.
yeah, but I can't remember the names of anything.
Okay,